us, starting us off with maybe a prayer. And so today we'll be talking on ethics for remote work, and this is something that would end up going out to Africans all over the world. So yeah, helping them work more effectively. So if you can, please help us with our opening prayer, and then we will start.
Okay. Are you on right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's pray then. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for the grace of today. For each day we wake, we celebrate one fact, that it's a privilege granted to us. And it's not a right. Thank you for that privilege, oh God, given to us all to be awake and alive today. And you've seen us through even thus far to this time. We want to ask right now that as we get on with this town hall meeting, you will bring to pass the very purpose for which we have designed and called for this meeting in the name of Jesus. Lord, discussing work ethics, Lord, remote work ethics, we do ask for wisdom for every facilitator. We do receive the very strong insights and knowledge that will help us work remotely better in our various sectors in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you because your spirit is taking absolute control and we just in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it.
I enjoyed the meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Queen,
you.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Work on those informations. We have another meeting then. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
All right.
Appreciate it. Awesome. How is everyone today? It's good to see you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
You people met Queen's interview.
Okay, that was an interview.
Yeah, Queen had an interview.
I see.
So yeah, you people met Queen's interview. How's everyone today? We'll just go around the room quite briefly. And please, anyone that's not here, please just remind them to join. Queen, if you can send out a message to the group and stuff, to the freelancer group as well. Just let's get joined. People will benefit from today what we'll be talking about. I don't know. Today I didn't really feel like we didn't send out any information that we were doing Clubhouse, did we?
It was just on the flyer.
It's on the flyer.
Yes.
I wanted to mention that if we should just do it over Zoom.
Okay.
I don't know.
But we didn't have any information about the room on Clubhouse or anything.
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right, that's fine. So I think I'll be quite happy for us to do this on Zoom today. So I'll just go around the room very quickly just to ask everyone how was their day. So I will start with Ayo. Ayo, how was your day?
Hi everyone, good evening. My day was good. My day is good, rather, it's going on fine. Church, came back home, then have something to eat.
Yeah.
Then I took a nap.
Awesome, amazing. Awesome. Sisters, how's your day?
Yeah, my day is going great, except for the heat is too hot.
It's too hot.
To be quite honest. Like it's hot that if you want to boil water, I could literally just put in a kettle and place it outside.
Oh wow!
Outside that, I think I'm good.
Okay. Thank God. Lola, how was your day?
Fantastic, actually. Sorry, I
Oh,
was trying to mute myself there. Yeah, it went well. Just like everybody else, went to church, and I'm back home now. Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Amazing.
Good weather as well. Well, better weather, I would say.
Better weather, better weather. Better weather. Ibukun, how's it there?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good.
Good evening. Thank you.
How did your day go?
Yeah, it was okay. Actually, I increased a little bit of work into today. I had to do some of my carryover jobs from Friday. So yeah, basically, and I had a few resting period. So that was all basically.
Awesome. Elvis, how's your day? Elvis. Amaka, how? Awesome.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, actually, my day started well up until I joined my evening service.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still at that place, even though I just kind of sneezed out.
Okay. That's cool.
Just attend the meeting.
Awesome. That's cool. Solomon, how was your day? Awesome. Awesome. Laverne, how was your day?
Thank God.
Awesome. That's good. So, without further ado.
No, it's not gone round. You said it would go round. Sorry, how?
Okay.
Day.
Okay. Mobu, how was your day? My day has been my day has been splendid. We thank God. It's been good so far. It's been good so far.
Okay.
But it's just gotten better because that's been my favorite. So Emeka, please, can you mute yourself if you don't mind? All right. So today is actually going to be quite interactive. You know, I would start off with a section, and then we're also going to basically hear a little bit from Lola as well, with regards to maybe anything that I don't touch on, Lola would probably touch on, and we would take it from there. So as you can see on the screen, today we're talking about ethics for remote work. To be honest, I say ethics for remote work, but this is actually, and I think that's why I have the remote work in bracket, because the things that we're discussing today is actually ethics for work. You know, it's ethics for work. It doesn't matter whether it's remote or not remote. And the main reason why I'm quite happy, it's funny that we are just before someone left, we were just 12. So it's funny that we are quite small today. I'm not sure who left, but we were just 12. You know, all these things that we see today about Christianity, and you know, it's all by the 12. You know, it's what the 12 did, you know, in spreading the message. And I believe that it's almost the same thing that we have tonight, because all of you here are going to be part of the people who would spread this message, who would talk about these principles going forward. And of course, you're already mentors on the platform. So I expect this to be heard and reproduced to your mentees over the course of the year. So I would not waste any time to start. You know, why we exist. Why do we exist? We exist because of this belief that Africa's greatest asset isn't our abundant natural resources, but our human capital. We exist because Africa's greatest asset isn't our abundant natural resources, but our human capital. But we all know that Africa's youth have not had enough platforms to show the world what they can do and to leverage their skills to earn a living. And the things that we are tackling first is unemployment in Africa. According to Africa Development Bank, we have 12 million youths who join the job market each year, but only 3 million jobs are available. And we have a burgeoning youth population, which keeps increasing. 70% of Africans are under 30, and that is roughly 980 million youths. By the year 2050, it's expected that Africa's population will be 2.5 billion. And if you imagine that we keep that percentage of 70%, we are going to have a youthful population in Africa that is bigger than China. And we have to be ready for that. We have to be prepared for that. We have to create avenues to help, ourselves grow sustainably. Another issue that we are solving, another reason why we exist as freelancers is that there is high labor cost, especially in the West. There's high labor cost in the West. And as I was explaining to people, some of you a few days ago, I was explaining that the cost here is not, it's almost like we cannot, there are forces that, that are ensuring that it doesn't really come down. So cost is going to keep going up for people living in the UK. And we have this thing, not just in the UK, people living in the West. And we have this thing in the West whereby the more you keep, even if you try to ascend, taxes are going to come for you and try to squeeze you until you are in a rat race. But we want to give people a way out of that issue that they are facing. And one way we can do that is by allowing people from the rest of the world to leverage our more affordable services from Africa. And that gives us an opportunity to become the outsourcing hub for the rest of the world. Over the years, India has been particularly, significant. They've owned this market. But I feel like it's time for Africa. It's time for Africa. It's time for Africa's youth. It's time for us to arise. It's time for us to shine. But we have to do this in a way, not in a dog eat dog kind of atmosphere. We have to do this in such a way that it impacts not just us, but it impacts every other person around us. Hence why we're a very high impact focused organization. And obviously we have the avenue whereby you as a freelancer, because you are focusing on impact, you have the ability to basically earn passive income, not just from yourself, but from the incentives we give you because you are an impactful freelancer. And this happens as you help others who are with you and under you grow. So that's why we exist in a nutshell. Moving on very quickly, our vision is to take African talents to the world. To take African talents to the world. And I always say one service at a time. And the reason I say one service at a time is that I believe that the one the one person or the one job that we do is as important as the 1 million jobs that we do. The one job that we do is as important as the 1 million jobs that we do. So we must have a macro view, a micro but a macro view of things when it comes to this. Because every single client is going to be as important as any other client. And every single freelancer is going to be as important as every other freelancer we have on our platform. So we must carry each other along. But the questions I ask myself, and I keep asking myself, can the world rely on African talents? Can the world rely on African talents? Can unemployment issue be tackled by the power of remote work and by the power of the internet? Can work and impact come together? And I was able to come to peace with myself to say yes to all these questions. And some of these questions are questions that I've asked myself through the course of us even building what we are building. And because of you, I've been able to categorically say yes, because you have proven to me that every single thing, every single question I have there is a yes. And then we have built our platform to give the world access to reliable building partners from Africa. Again, Africa's greatest asset isn't our abundant natural resources, but our human capital. Now, there are 5 steps that I've listed here that makes for a great freelancer. And these 5 steps are going to be encompassed around the 7 P's of marketing. And if you've heard of the 7 P's of marketing, you know it's the product, you know it's the people, it's the price, it's the place, it's promotion, it's the process, and it's the presence. Well, they say physical evidence or physical presence. Those are the 7 P's of marketing. But number one thing that I will be talking about is basically products. I'm going to talk about products. The first thing you need to do, and like I said, some of these things that I'm going to be talking about, it's not necessarily for those of you right here, right now on Zoom, but this is a message that will have to be cascaded to every single person that we interact with in the future as they interface with our platform. The first thing that they need to do is that they need to find their digital skill. Find your digital skill. What skill can you provide? What skill can you provide? What can be done remotely that you can offer? Because obviously we are not a platform we're not a physical platform. So everything that we do is remote, right? Find a digital skill. What can you do very well? What can you do very well? What do you have a passion for? What do you have a passion for? What can you do better than those around you? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. What skill can I develop? And what skill can I deploy on the platform? That's number one. Number two, are there people who have done this before on the platform? Are there people who have done this before on the platform? Or are there people who have done this even elsewhere that I know that they've been able to, make money digitally, remotely, doing what I am doing. You need to find those people. And like we talked about the last town hall, we talked on establishing a mentor. Then you use the skills and the knowledge that was imparted to you from establishing a mentor to ensure that this mentor that you find becomes a part of your life. But it's very important to, there's something that a mentor once said to me. He says, every man's vision needs a hero. Every man's vision needs a hero. As much as you believe you can do what you think you can do, sometimes it's always very important to see someone who has done it before. Because sometimes when we see people, I remember one thing that motivates, a lot of you know that I love my music and I'm a recorded artist and stuff. But one thing that motivated me at my early days is seeing people like Frank Edward. When I saw people like Frank Edward and I saw people like Eben, that when they sang, their voice was not, sometimes if you listen to some of the American singers, you'll be very disappointed because the skills that they are running, the way they sing, the dexterity, you're like, let me just give up and, and sleep. Let me find something else. Maybe this is not for me. But by the time I started seeing Sinach, I started seeing Sinach, who is not doing any riffs and runs. She's just singing straight. I'm seeing Frank Edward. He's not doing any much. He's actually just singing like, he sounds like me a bit. When I saw those things, I was like, okay, it means that this is possible. It's possible for me. If I just put my mind to it, I can achieve this. And therefore, I found mentors in that area. And those people have been able to help me in my skill of musicianship. These people have been able to help me shape and hone my career. Right. Now, by the time you find this your passion, this your digital skill, that you want to, you believe that it's your primary gifting, you believe that this is the primary thing that will set you apart, I want you to create, or I am suggesting that you create 2 gigs. I am suggesting that you create 2 gigs to start with. Now, 1 gig is what I call a trial one. A trial or one-off gig. A trial or one-off gig. Something that basically will give people an opportunity to get to know that you have the skill, to want to try you out. And then secondly, I want you to also create a monthly gig. I want you to create a monthly gig. Because with a monthly gig, you'll be able to, the way I look at the monthly gig is that it helps you maximize. It helps you maximize on some forces. There's something called in economics, the diminishing marginal utility. And this concept says that someone, satisfaction that someone gets from the first unit of consumption diminishes after the first consumption. The satisfaction someone gets from the first time they consume diminishes after the first one. What do I mean by that? if you are hungry, and someone offers you a pizza or offers you pizza, your willingness to pay for that first pizza, that first piece of pizza, diminishes after every single pizza. Hence why, if you notice people that sell pizza, they will sell the small box of pizza for, and this small box of pizza might have 4 pieces. Yeah, they sell one with 4 pieces, for example. Now that one with 4 pieces, they'll make it $5. Let's use dollars just so that it's easy. $5, right? The second box of pizza will have, let's say 8, and they will make it let's say $7. And the large box of pizza might have 12, and they will make it $10. Now, someone will think, why shouldn't you have increased it, since it should be 15? Why didn't you increase it? That is because of this law of diminishing utility. And that is why I believe that some people who are willing to, when they try you and they get to understand what you're about, they might not be willing to pay for that single unit every time. An example would be someone like Ayo. You know, someone might be quite happy to do a one-off gig and pay for one set of photo editing at $30. But the second time that same person is coming, let's say they have a series of jobs that are coming to Ayo, they might not be willing to pay that same amount. Hence why, if they now see that, okay, Ayo has something that I can do 15 jobs, up to 15 designs, up to 15 photo editing, separate sets for $250, they will be more happy to have it because of something we call the use value, which is what monetary value is equivalent to how much satisfaction a person receives from the consumption of that goods. And like I said, because of the law of marginal utility, it means that keeps decreasing per unit of use. Hence why, for me, I'm an advocate of monthly gigs or monthly pricing. You know, people will feel like they are getting more value out of working with you. But it's always good to give them something that helps them understand what you are able to do. Now, when you create your monthly gig, you know, I will say that also set some SMART goals for yourself. Set some SMART goals for yourself. And what do I mean? Set a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And my recommendation is that in the first quarter that you are on the freelancer platform, aim to get yourself to $250 per month. Aim to get yourself to $250 per month. And this will inform the way you price yourself and price your services, the different services you provide. Look at it in such a way that my aim is, before this quarter finishes, I want to be in a position that I'm earning $250 a month from my services. By quarter 2, you know, you want to increase that to $500 per month. Set a goal for yourself. You want to get to $500 per month. And how would you be able to achieve this? This is by using the same methods that you used at the beginning and replicating it again. Replicating it again. Let's say you started with your first, when you are starting, you are able to find 2 clients, right? You're able to find 2 clients. You use those 2 clients, 2-3 clients to get to your $250. Immediately you are very comfortable around the service that you are providing. You now have to think about, okay, I need to scale what I'm doing. I need to scale what I'm doing, and then I need to get some more people to come on board as clients, as my clients, that will help me get to where I'm going to. And by the time you have built some credentials, by the time you've built some reviews, the next 3 clients or the next 2 clients that will come, you have the right to sell them on something that is more of more value, because they have proof, they have evidence of the things that you are able to achieve. And with that additional person, or those 2 more additional people that you bring on board as your clients, you should be able to, get to $500 a month. By the 3rd quarter, your aim should be to get to $750 per month, right? By the 3rd quarter, your aim should be to get to $750 per month. And by the 4th quarter, if I were you, and I believe this is very possible, I believe that every single person on the platform has the potential and the ability to get to $1,000 per month. And then after that, there are ways to scale beyond that. And you start thinking about, okay, I might have to get more staff, I might have to get, and there are things you now do to increase your skill. But I believe that every single one of us has what it takes to get to $1,000 per month on the platform. I was going to touch more on pricing, but I feel like I've already touched on it. But there is something called willingness to pay. I'll talk about 2 types of pricing: willingness to pay and a price-led approach. So willingness to pay is pricing based on your customer's perceived value. And like I said, that value diminishes after every single unit, so you have to bear that in mind. But willingness to pay means that if you focus on, delivering value, delivering something that your customer finds valuable at every single time, you would be able to achieve more, get more out of that customer. And how that works is this. Let me say, for example, you have the 3-tier approach that we use on the platform for your service. Now, you start with, someone's willingness to pay might be at first $20 for posting once a week. And I'm using a social media manager for an example. $20 for posting once a week. Their next willingness to pay might be, $30 for posting twice a week, right? And then their next willingness to pay might be $40 for point. And it's not, it's not growing. It's not growing. If we started by 20, it means that if it's twice a week, normally people would make it $40 and then $60. But that's not how people perceive value. So because of that, you're able to put your pricing strategy around a way that it maximizes your customers' view or perception of the value they are getting out of your service. And then you are doing that in such a way that it does not chase some customers away. You want to keep, with your pricing, you want to keep your customers interested in your products. You want to keep your customers interested in your products. Sometimes, or mostly, a lot of people use what we call the price-led approach. But that price-led approach is not based on the value your customer perceives of your product or your service. Sometimes it's based on your own understanding or your own view of the market. But that is not always the best way to look at a customer. And when I say this willingness to pay and stuff like that, it does not mean it does not always mean cheap. No. Because if you tell me that you are going to give me a Rolls Royce and I'm going to pay $1,000, I'm going to look at you like this guy is a scam. Right? So it does not mean cheap. It just means that you should try and study your ideal customer to understand where their value, where their concept of value sits. And then another thing you have to be mindful of when trying to understand your customer is also their ability to pay. Their ability to pay. Some customers might value your service as at $500, but their ability to pay is at, let's say, $300. Does that mean you should let them go when your cost is just, for example, $100? It's best to find out where their pricing or their concept of value sits, so that when you are pricing in such a way that your customer and yourself will be happy. And what happens is this: in the course of you providing that service to your customer, when your customer goes up in means, often you will be able to climb in their ladder of willingness to pay, because they might not find you indispensable. They might now enjoy their work with you, and now they have the ability to pay. So of course, they will pay for the service that you provide. Then the fourth step, or the fourth thing that I talked about is get the tools you need to be effective. Get the tools you need to be effective. We're living in a global world now, and to be effective, you need to be tuned in to the rest of the world. And one of the ways you can be tuned in to the rest of the world is internet. So having good broadband for you is not a need, it's a necessity. Because you work online, having a good broadband it's not like you're not trying to flex by having 24/7 broadband. It's a necessity, it's mandatory. You know, having a laptop for you is not luxury. It's not luxury. No, it is absolutely mandatory. And you have every single right to get annoyed at anyone that tries to abuse your laptop, because your laptop is your work machine. So you must keep your tools. You know, people must respect your tools. People must place value on the tools that you use, and you must place value on the tools that you use. For example, if you're still using just your phone for Wi-Fi, personally, and you're part of the team, I'm a bit disappointed, because if at the very least, every single person on our team right now, or every single freelancer that's part of us right now should have MiFi, at the very least. At the very least. If you are part of our team and then you still have the, is it 3G SIM card? I'm partially a bit disappointed because of the nature of what you do, you should have a 4G SIM card, and you are one of the first people that should opt for the 5G SIM card when they are ready, because it's not luxury. These are things that you need for the work that you do to be effective. Another thing, stable electricity, stable source of electricity. And no, Gen is not a stable source of electricity. I've worked with a lot of you and I have seen how the Gen issue is. Sometimes if it's not the Gen, it is, we know, unfortunately, you know, things go wrong when it comes to, you know, fuel and all those kind of things. So generator is the last, as far as I'm concerned, generator is your last bet. If you are a freelancer, we want you to be thinking about impact. We want you to be thinking about the environment. So one of the things that you should consider is services like the Lumos. Services like the Lumos, which is a solar panel battery device that can enable you have 24 hours electricity for yourself that can power your lights and your device. This thing, again, is not luxury for you. Like, it's not luxury. It's not for your fridge. It's not for your television. When you get these things, your aim for getting it is not for luxury. Your aim for getting it is, my work has to be prioritized. My work is in front of me. My clients are depending on me. So the things that I need to serve my clients effectively have to be present. And then number 5, character. Number 5, character. You must have character. You must have character. You must have character. The number 1 characteristics that you must have is communication. When you are working with clients, I always advise, try to communicate daily with integrity, cladding everything you do with your client, and focus on delivering above your client's expectation. Communicate daily with integrity, cladding everything you do with your client, and focus on delivering above your client's expectation. Communicate daily. If you're working with people, reach out to them before they reach out to you to say, how can I help? What can I help you with today? Hope you are doing good this morning. I am looking forward to, you know, working to delivering so and so today. Is there any other thing that you would like me to do? It sounds very simple, but it starts to make you indispensable to the people that you work with, and their perception of value for you starts to increase. Starts to increase. And I want to say this, state this categorically. Your clients have doubts. Your clients have doubts. Almost every, let me put it, 95% of Western people who are working with Africans have doubts. So we have to, it's our duty to be cautious enough to help them get over their doubts and fears. Therefore, the things that we say, the things that we ask for, the things that we do around this client is very important. We must be very mindful. We should be very cautious not to trigger things that will make them feel like, because your clients have doubts around, even some clients that are a bit more aware are aware that maybe you shouldn't, that they don't expect you to have power, that they don't expect you to have internet, and that you will come up with an excuse around these things. So they already have doubts. So it's up to you to assure them, say, don't worry, I have 24/7 electricity. I have my devices. I have broadband that I use for my work. Set boundaries around your work. Even though, let those around you know that, between 9 to 4 or 8 to 4, whatever that time is for you, like nobody should disturb so and so because they are busy with work. And I want to tell you something. If you really want to be remarkably exceptional in the things that you do, it's not just about, okay, you might say, okay, maybe Mobu, I should be doing that when I have work. It's not just that. For me, what I say is that when you do not have work, then your work is learning, your work is development. So when you do not have a client that is using your services presently, still set that boundary of time that you use for this work, that you use for working for your clients, and then make that a time that you will learn and that you will promote yourself and seek for clients. Those two things should be your focus when there is no work. But the time you have for work should be mapped out. The time you have for work should be mapped out. Another thing I would like to say is respect your clients. Respect your clients. And be humble always. Respect your clients and be humble always. I make emphasis on that word always. But the reason I talk about humility is because it's quite simple. A lot of us are people of faith. God says, He will raise the humble. God will raise you by Himself if you are humble. God will raise you. God has placed Himself on a mandate to raise a humble person. Respect your clients and be humble always. Don't start thinking, if without me, no. Let that not get into your thoughts. Because the truth is that your client can always replace you. But with character, you make yourself indispensable. The Bible says, seest thou a man diligent in his work, he will stand before kings and not mean men. So that humility will place you in rooms that you never expected. Another thing is manage expectations. Manage expectations. So if a genuine emergency occurs that might impact your deliverables, please, back to the first thing we talked about, communicate. Communicate. Don't leave it to chance. Don't like today was Sunday, obviously, everybody knows. The drummer who was supposed to play this morning did not inform us, left things till like almost 9 o'clock this morning to inform us that he was not going to be available. that is not the attitude that will make you successful. You need to manage expectations. If you notice that something might impact you, as early as you notice, try to communicate with your client. This might be coming up. This just happened, and it might impact that work that I told you that I would deliver by so and so time. So bear with me. I'm doing so and so things to mitigate against it, and I'm going to deliver it at this other time. And having said that, another thing I would like to say is that you need to act as an ambassador. You need to act as an ambassador. Every freelancer is an ambassador for Africa. Every freelancer is an ambassador for Africa. Who is an ambassador? Someone that is serving their country in a foreign land. You're almost like a representative of your people in a foreign place. Well, freelancers' mission means that most of our clients are going to come from foreign lands. Therefore, you are an ambassador. So your clients' interaction with you will impact their view of Africa. Not just some of you, like some clients that might work with you do not even know that Africa is a continent and that we have 54 countries. So you are an ambassador of Africa when you are working on freelancer. That is why everything you do must be in such a way that it will present Africa in a good light. Because guess what? If they have a bad interaction with you, they're going to not just judge you, they will judge Africa. And guess what? Our jobs will go to China. Our jobs will go to India. Our jobs will go to Vietnam. Have your younger brother or sister in mind. Your actions might hinder their future. Your actions might hinder future opportunities for them. Have your younger brother or sister in mind. Your actions might hinder future opportunities for them. I'm almost done. Also, stay away from political or sensitive topics. Don't get too comfortable with your client. Be professional. Be professional. Be professional. Avoid political or sensitive topics. When you're working with people in the global society, the things that there are triggers. There are triggers that you must avoid. Politics is one. All these sexuality is another. Religion is another. We must try and avoid those sensitive areas when working with our client. I say this, don't preach, but let your life be a message. This is not, when you're working with your clients, it's not the type of evangelism that we want you to do. It's not evangelism by words. It's evangelism by works. Bible says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. And lastly, or the one before the last, grow patiently. Grow what? Patiently. Grow patiently. The reason why patient growth is important is because patient growth has sustainability built into it. Patient growth has sustainability built into it. If you do not grow patiently, you do not have the character that it takes to handle that place that you think you should have arrived at. But if you allow yourself to grow patiently, the reason why a child does not become 6 foot at the age of 3 is that the muscle of the child is not developed enough to carry someone that's 6 foot. There is a patient growth in nature. So we also should imbibe that and have the character to grow patiently. But don't grow alone. Leave a legacy. Like I said, think about your younger brother. And even if you don't have a younger brother or sister, there are many more people around you, people that are coming up, who you need to think about. And how might you think about them? Think about them by not doing things that would jeopardize opportunity for them. And secondly, think about them in a way of helping them develop their skills. Think about them in a way that helps them develop their skills and become people of repute. People who are not a part of the problem, but a part of the solution. What am I saying? You can make a difference. You can be a difference. And another thing is this. A rich man amongst 3, let's say, for example, a rich man, let's use this analogy on the screen. A rich man amongst 2 poor people is the third poor man. What am I saying? Bring others along. Bring others along. You know your friends that are stuck in the rat race. Your friends that they are completely clueless about what to do with their future. Do not keep some of these things to yourself. Do not keep the things that you're learning to yourself. Try and bring them along. There's enough room for all of us. I mean, won't it be good? I mean, life will be enjoyable. That if we are building houses, you know, every single one of us can build really nice houses and live in the same neighborhood. Why must I live in a mansion and my brother will live in a mud house in a slum? If that slum is next to my mansion, it doesn't matter how beautiful my mansion is, I live in a slum. But if I help develop those around me, then my neighbors will not be living in a slum. They will also live in houses that will make my neighborhood look much better. I think with these few points, I think that a full answer can be made. We've learned tools and ways to be more effective in our journey in remote working. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for listening to me. I don't know if Lola wants to add anything to what I've said. Hi,
Yes,
Lola.
I'd like to.
Oh,
Hi.
awesome.
I'm just going to share my screen if I can.
All right.
One of the key things that we'll be talking about today will be pricing strategy, and I'm hoping that I can show you perhaps the how. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Mobo already touched on a few things I've mentioned on the slide, but what tools? There's some things that are already inbuilt on Freelancer. It's just also making sure that we're taking full advantage of that. So without much further ado, I'll just mention them. For example, a calendar. Some of us are working across we will have more than one client. How do we manage our freelance work and other commitments that we have? So you might have, for example, you might have other commitments outside of work, say personal commitments, life goals. How do you sort of harness that and bring it all together? And I think that a calendar would bring that together. So now it's a matter of looking at tools out there. Like Mobu said earlier on, we live in a digital world. There's so many resources available. It's a global world. You can literally take advantage of tools that are not necessarily, that was not necessarily created by somebody that's, that's from the part of the world that you are. One of those examples is something called a 10 to 8, where you can actually see your calendar, even book time. For example, your clients can book time. And some of these have like even free plans. So if you're not as busy, you might be able to take advantage of the free plans. Some of these things do not necessarily cost money, but it's a matter of thinking, what are my current processes? How can I optimize? How can I make it easier to the point where I can create a level of consistency that fits my work life and personal life. Now, the next thing is communication. I think Mobo has already talked on this. He mentioned, managing expectations and all of that. So I won't focus on that as much. But what about out of gig scope, as I've said? So we've created gigs, clients can pay for gigs, but what about gigs that don't necessarily fit the scope of what we've created? Now, and this is closely linked to communication. Now, why have I mentioned this? Because I feel like there are times where it's possible to deliver work and a client or customer says, this isn't what I expected, or this does not fully fit, it's not even fit for purpose, depending on what it is, because all of us work across various industries. But how can we manage those expectations? First things first, you must agree. Is this what you want? Let them confirm. I don't know how many of us have done work that is completely out of scope of things that we have posted, but going forward, I imagine that you will grow, or you will get to the point where customers are like, I want a bit of this and a bit of that. How do you bring that together? Make sure that you get a confirmation so that you are fully aware of what you are agreeing to, and it will also help your pricing model. Your pricing. But then again, one thing that I'm going to delve into deeper is the pricing model, because I'll show you the how. It's important that we first of all understand, like Mogu said, do your research, know what is obtainable, know what the pricing points are. But also, all of us also understand that there are times where, if, for example, the market is charging, maybe for argument's sake, $100 for something, and you feel like, well, I'm not saying undercut the market, and I'm not saying go above and beyond. Whatever you choose, understand that whatever your choices are, there are consequences. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so great. But understand that, okay, you say to yourself, I want, okay, out of that $100, I'm going to make $30 gross. Am I happy to, charge the same thing that the market is charging, or do I want to do something different? Do I want to go higher? Do I want to go lower? And also, you must also understand your why for that, because there will be times where people might challenge you, especially if you go higher. What extra service do you offer that justifies your price? How do you set yourself apart from the market when you are charging above market rates? And if you're charging above lower rates, the other thing to think about is it sustainable? But let's move on. I'll come back to pricing model because I have an Excel tool to share with us. But then again, like I said, ethics for remote work, I've covered tools already. But one of the things that I think that we need to focus on, not because we want to look good on the platform, but we must be actively seeking feedback from our clients. When we deliver work, sometimes there are clients that will be happy, but they might have a thought or two on something that you might be able to do. It might not necessarily be that the work is bad. No, it could be an additional service that they thought that they would have loved for you to provide, but they had to, for example, go elsewhere because you didn't provide it. Maybe because, for example, your skills are limited or your resources are limited, or because you have just chosen to limit your scope of what you provide, which is fine, but it's very important to take feedback. It will also help you shape the vision of where you could go. It could let you understand what the future opportunities, where the future opportunities lie. And it will also help you refine your work, and not just refine your work. At the end of the day, clients are customers, and they say customers are always right. If you have a customer focused mentality, to continuously serve customers what it is they're looking for, you will be in business for a long time. Whether we like it or not, it is business. So let's actively seek feedback. Then vision, like I touched on earlier, where are you trying to go? We're not here so that people can live on a particular income month on month. We're here because there is a long-term goal, or at least I believe that there should be a long-term goal. There should be a long-term focus. What is that focus? Have you actually defined that for yourself? Because when you do, it would inform your efforts, it would inform your investment in the delivery of your service. And then skills. I say skills because we all have skills, but then again, are we refreshing? Are we moving? Are we ahead of the curve, or are we behind the curve when it comes to our skills? So what do I mean? You might be a developer, you might know a few programming languages, but what is there a new programming language? Is there something that is delivering better value? How are you working towards improving your skills in that area? That is one. Okay, I'll use video editor. This is not for you, but like maybe there's a new tool on the market that is offering better value, or enabling people achieve certain outcomes. And this is something that, for example, because customers are seeing that people have are achieving these outcomes, they're looking for you to deliver the same level of value. You don't want to limit yourself because you don't know how to use the tool. I know that obviously sometimes there's an aspect of resourcing in terms of having to pay for some of these softwares, but then again, also it's one thing to pay for it, but it's another thing to know how to use it. And that's one. But also the other thing is, you are delivering customer service or you're a virtual assistant. Are you able to use all the tools available to make your job as easy as possible? Even though we're freelancers, we want to move from labor to as much turnkey work as to make things as turnkey as possible. Now, what do I mean? Now you create gigs on Freelancer. One of the reasons why you create gigs on Freelancer is so that a customer can initiate a transaction without necessarily having to go back and forth with you on what you can offer. It makes the customer journey from prospect to client shorter. So you close in a shorter space of time. So how are you, for example, how are you putting yourself in a position, so as in the delivery of your service, how are you putting yourself in a position where you are able to make things as smooth as possible for you? Also understand that the more you upskill or retrain yourself, sometimes it's even refresher courses, depending on your position or what it is that you're doing and what's available on the market. The more you do these things, the easier your life gets. And it also means that you can also increase your capacity. If you find the right tools, or you upskill in the right tools that would help or aid your work. Then the other thing is consistency. Now, perhaps this applies to some more than others, but having the right tools, having the right skills will help you get a level of consistency that makes the customer or consumer or the client confident about what you're delivering. But also, it also makes you confident that if they ask for something, not that you're panicking that, oh, I did this the last time, but I'm not really sure if I'm able to deliver the same thing. Consistency is very, very important in this industry. If you don't do as well, you get lower ratings. It's very, very confusing for customers, because already, like Mobu said, some of your clients are going to be people that already have questions in their head about people from Africa, or have very limited understanding or knowledge about where where the freelancers are coming from. What you want to do is you don't want to add to that list of questions or level of what's the word? I think the word has escaped me. And then again, delivering to agreed objectives, absolutely crucial. It takes me back to what I said on the previous slide, out of gig school. You have to be able to agree, success in this industry is, what have we agreed? What is it that you want? What is it that you want delivered? And have I met those? Have I delivered according to those, those set things that we have agreed? It's not necessarily the best work. It's not necessarily about doing the best thing every single time. Sometimes people want less than we can deliver. But as long as you deliver what it is that they want, then nobody can knock you on that. So let's move on. So the next thing I want to cover is pricing model. This one. So I have an Excel tool here that has a number of entries. Now I've just put some numbers, they're not real. So don't
we can't see your Excel sheet.
You can't see my Excel sheet. Okay.
No.
I think I shared only a window, so I'm gonna reshare. Yeah, I shared only a window. Okay, then can you see my Excel sheet now?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I've done a mock-up sheet. Now this doesn't really have numbers that are real, but just to give us an idea of what we can do, because Mogu said something about, it's not a eat dog. How did you even put it?
It's not a dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog world, And also the thing is, if we're being honest with ourselves, all of us have goals, all of us know what we would like, we know what we would like to achieve. I mean, if we could all be Dangote tomorrow, we would be, but how do we get from point A to B? Now, this is a mock-up for a photo group business. I've put some numbers here. Like I said, they're not real, so don't get bogged down in the detail. And it's something that I tend to do for any endeavor that I would like to get into. Now, I've listed all the things that I would need for the business. I've put the cost, and it automatically calculates it for me. The only thing I'm allowed to enter here, because all of these are protected, is my margin. And you might ask why? Because there are times where products and services change, like in terms of, the products or your costs change because maybe your inputs, maybe your software that you pay for changes, something that you need for your business, whether it's even data, broadband, whatever it is, it changes. But your markup, your profit margin won't change because you've entered it there and it will work it out automatically. Now, where am I going to? I'm going here. So you know how much you want to earn in a year. You know exactly how much your expenses are. So this is your survival budget. Let me scroll up. I didn't put in any figures here because I think that that's something that you want. And please do let me know if you want access to this.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. So you put how much you want to. What your survival. Your expenses are, whether you're paying rent month to month or annually. But this is a monthly one. You can split it up. You can divide your annual rent in 12 months and it will give you the same thing. So you put in all your expenses, so it will automatically calculate that. Obviously, I haven't entered that here. And then it would let you know, and then it will show your cash flow as a result. But what's in terms of sales, what do you want to achieve? And I think that this is probably the most important. So I've done it from February all the way to February, only because we're in the month of February. Okay. And I said, like 2 sales per month, because I know that 2 sales is going to give me this, and realistically, because of maybe where we are at in the month, or because how I'm starting up, this is what is realistic, because you have to be as realistic as possible when you're filling this in. And in terms of why this is also important is some of us are offering services that have peak seasons, off-peak seasons. In certain seasons or times of the year, it could be that you might have a lot of demand or customers coming through to say, we want this or that. You can also put that in. So you're able to put in, work out or estimate how many sales you will make in a month. So I put all of this here. And because it knows the cost of the service, so here, this is my profit margin of £50 and the price per unit is £64 only because it has worked out that my cost per unit is £14. So how does it do this? It has added up all of this, which gives you this figure here. And then in this cell, it has, in this cost per unit, it has reduced, it has basically, so based on how many sales I want to make, it has split up what my cost is. So my total cost for the year versus how many units I'm looking to sell. It has given me that figure. And then I put in how much I want to make on each sale. Does that make sense? And then it gives me this, just so that I can see how sustainable it'll be. So if I know that, instead of saying, I only have one customer, how much am I going to charge this customer? Oh, I never make business this month. Let me just charge them £100. And what happens is this, customers can lose trust. If one person says, I paid £100 for this, another person says he paid £50 for this, it can cause a lack of trust. And that level of consistency is not something that you want if you want to go very far, especially when you're working with clients that are, across the world. A lot of the information is online. And if there's no real reason, for example, you're not doing a sale, you're not doing a price slash, there's no real reason why there was a price slash. You can lose trust of customers very, very quickly. So this is the most sustainable way. So this person has said they need £50 on every sale. This person has said how many sales that they hope to get. So this is what they're working towards. So even when they don't get business, because they have decided that they want to get 5 sales, their marketing efforts, you see that time that Mugu said, if you don't have a client, you should be working on marketing. This is what they're working towards. Say, for example, they don't have anybody that has booked them in April. This is what they're working towards. So they cannot just say that, oh, I'm free, I'm going to hang out with, my friends. No, you're not free. You're going to be broke very soon. So you just put how many sales you want to make, and then you work towards that. And then you calculate this. It will tell you how much your income will be at the end of the year. And then you can now forecast. You can decide that, oh, okay, you know what? Since I'll make this many sales come this time of the year, and I would have had this much money, I would have sold this much in revenue, perhaps I'll be able to invest X amount and increase my capacity, or increase my my access to opportunities. So this person decided in this cost pricing here, they've included that they'll buy another photo booth. Does that make sense? So you can do things like that. They've also listed something that they haven't put a price for, because they imagine that there might be a time when they might need a van to move. If they have more than one photo booth, it might not fit in their regular car. So that might be a future expense. But you can also list things there and not put a figure, but you'll also give you a lens on things that you want to work towards.
Awesome.
Let's go to sales. So this person is hoping to make £14,000 come in 12 months, actually more than 12 months, seeing that this is basically come early February. This person is hoping to make £14,000, and then this person would have spent £3,000. You can already work out roughly what the margins are. Now you go to the cost table here. This person has a loan repayment. Their survival budget is 0. Their cash flow, this is their cash flow. This is what their cash flow would look like. They have to make this loan repayment. If, for example, there was a survival budget, it would have worked out how much it is month on month, and it would have told you exactly how much would be left. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It will tell you how much will be left. And, this is the place that I think that we need to be, rather than sort of working it out on the fly. If we decide to work every single thing out on the fly, we're going to find ourselves ultimately stuck. And this is the other thing. If you're looking to increase or expand your offers as a business or as a freelancer, this can help you work out if it's going to be profitable. So that, as we know, there's some industries where there's so much competition that, honestly speaking, if you go in, your margins are so low, you might decide that for what it is that you want to offer, it is not for you. Now, business plans are great, but financial forecasts are a very important aspect of that. And I think that that's probably what we need to do. And like I said, let me know if you need access to this. Yeah. Maybe in another session, we can do a deeper dive, but at least there must be a minimum, maybe 5 to 10 people that work that out. Yeah. For me to come on Zoom and then go into detail on how to use it, because there's loads of formulas on here.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think that this is where we need to be, where we need to work out what it is that we're looking for, whether, we're able to achieve that, what it is that we're able to offer, either because of our resources, our time, or our marketing efforts, to see what we can achieve, what the art of the possible is, and then sort of work towards that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to deep dive into. I think Mobu covered most of it, but yeah, that's it.
Amazing. I mean, multi-dimensions of truths. However, to be honest, like Lola, I feel like there's a lot more to even unpack from what you just touched on now. So I think this calls for an episode 2, because I would like us to probably in the future do an example whereby we even really dive into, because the truth is this, like, and especially you, the core team, who is driving this, you, the mentors, you need to be successful. Like, we want you to be successful. We desire that you are successful. I want to stay in your house the next time I'm in Abuja. I want to stay in your house the next time I'm in Owerri. I want to stay in your house. I don't want to stay at the hotel. I want to stay in your house in Lagos, and that can only be possible if you are successful. So our heart desire is that you have all it takes to make this a very fruitful and value-packed and value-focused adventure. And yeah, all the best to every single freelancer. And I will stop the recording for some Q&A. Maybe we should take some Q&As on record first before we go off record, in case there are anything in particular. So any questions from anyone?
Yes, I wanted some insights into, firstly, thank you, Mobu, for presentation, and Lola, I also appreciate the training you gave to us. And I think, just like Mobu said, I think that is something that needs a different, kind of a session just to learn on all of that on its own. So I wanted to ask something which I believe will still help some of us have a deeper understanding of what is going on today, which is ethics for remote work. So I was thinking, although initially, Mobi, you mentioned that it's more like still ethics for work, because ethics for work is still work for ethics for remote work, something like that. But I thought if there's a way to help us know a little bit of difference, because I believe there's a tiny, even if it's not much, there should be a tiny difference between how work is done when you are in an office and how work is done when no one is seeing. So I don't know if you can help us or Lola, dive into that, just a little bit of, how you think the ethics might be a little different. So I don't know if that makes sense.
So Lola, I would come to you with that question.
You want me to answer it now? Yeah. Yes, truthfully, it is different. Funny thing is, I hope I can say this, but I was having a conversation with my friend about the difference between work from home, and because she's working in the office now. And perhaps one of the key differences is, relationships. You're able to build, no doubt, you're able to build relationships and nurture relationships when you're in person in the office. And that can be very different if you're working online remotely, and then your customer or your clients, for example, in our situation, is thousands of miles away or millions of miles away. And, how do you ensure that you get repeat business outside of just merits? There are people that have got repeat business, for example, not because they delivered a fantastic job the first time, but purely on the basis of relationships. And it can be very difficult to navigate, no doubt. But I would say, from this point of view, I at the moment, yes, clients pay for gigs, but in your communication with them, I'm not saying be colloquial or be friendly, but ensure that you leave that unique impression, let your character or your let your character come through. I would say let your character come through, and be proud of. I know that Mobi said that there are questions about where we came, where we're from, and stuff like that. And truthfully, yes, but be proud of where you're coming from, and through that you're able to share. There are people that I bonded with only because I say certain things that we say. I'll give an example. I think in my last planning meeting, someone said something, and I said, well, how does that change the price of fish in the market? That's what we say in Nigeria. And everybody burst out in laughter and spoke about what they say, where he comes from, because it was someone from Asia. But then this is the thing, just let your character come through, and eventually you leave that indelible impression, not just through work, but in terms of your personality. That's one. But then again, another difference I would say is how you manage time. It's very it's very different, no doubt. You go into an office, you have it's compartmentalized for you, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever the time, 8 to 6. You finish, the moment you walk out that door, most of the time, job done. You get home and it's definitely family time. But what happens when you're home? And what happened in the height of lockdown where some children were schooling at home, and I know that some of us on this platform have kids. How do you balance, being there for your family and then working at the same time? It's discipline. I'll be honest with you. The answer is discipline. Saying, family, I love you, but let me use this time for this so that we can have time later to do the other things. And it's one of the reasons why I mentioned using the right tools. Look out, find out what calendars are out there available for you to manage your various clients. And because you work with different clients, they won't always, all of them won't, you won't always have access to their diaries. You won't be able to see when they're free and when they're not free. But you can create a universal platform where you block out the time that is for family and let them see only the time that you're available so that you can work around that. There's a lot I could say, but I'll just focus on these two. I don't know if Mobu has anything else to add.
Yeah, one thing I want to say that is, I think, very pungent. Thank you, Lola. That was quite very good. One thing I would like to add is trust. Remote work has a lot to do with trust. I'm trusting you to do what you said you would do. That's one thing I would say that remote work has differently. So I mean, and this the reason I look at it as work is that you have people. I've been at the airports, and coming towards the airport assistants and staff there, and I'll see them on Facebook playing Candy Crush, but they are there physically, but they're not working. So I'm trusting, like, even your clients are trusting that you are spending the time that you said is for work at work. And for me, this is very important, because it's not just for the sake of your client, but also for the sake of you. Because you must also be mindful of your well-being. So don't start spending time that is supposed to be for family, or for exercise, or for prayer, or for whatever keeps you healthy and mindful. Don't start spending that time during the time you are supposed to spend. Don't start conflicting that time with the time you are spending with work, but separate work and time with other things, so that you time box yourself. Once you're done with this, you're on to the next thing, and live a full life. But know that your customers are trusting you, your clients are trusting you to do what you said that you will do. And it's adult work. I feel like remote work is adult work. It's basically You're an adult now. Nobody is going to really monitor. Mommy and daddy are not watching you to flog you to not do some certain things. You're an adult. You are supposed to do some certain things and be disciplined enough to do them. And this is also for you. It shows that you place what on yourself. You know, I remember those days because my parents saw me at home. They would be wondering, you know, Mobu, won't you go and wash plates? Won't you go and cut the grass? Won't you? You know, when you're at home, people just think that, you know, you are the one that's you are just the slave of the house. But when they realize, and I kept insisting that, mommy, daddy, look, during the time that is work, if people who are working at work, I'm also at work. And I'm going to focus on my development. After a while, they got used to my discipline and they stopped disturbing me. So if people around you get to know you like that, you know, it will go a long way for to ensure that they don't abuse you. Basically.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm sure other people also got one or two insights from that angle. So please, still on the ethics of remote work, there's just one last thing I would want clarity on. You know, when you're working physically, the nature of your contract could be either part-time or full-time, right?
Yeah.
So if you're working part-time, for instance, you'll be given specific days, right? So,
Yeah.
okay, you work Mondays, Wednesdays, yeah? And then Mondays, Wednesdays, your employer would know that, yes, those are the days you have to work for me, and they will give you every work they need. And then every other rest of the week, they don't get to bother you, okay? Now, regarding when it comes to freelancer, I think we'll need a little bit of guidance because I believe, just like you said, we are pioneers here who will be talking to the rest of the people coming.
Yeah.
So if someone registers on freelancer and a client contacts the person, what is the client thinking about? Is it full-time? Is it part-time? And how can the freelancers, how can they draw a line, or how do you want them to go about, you know, ensuring part-time, full-time kind of thing? So I think this also it's important
So
know how to manage
so
ethics.
for me to address that, like it's very, very, very clearly, like always bring the conversation back to the scope of the work, right? And there's something Lola touched on, which is being in agreement. Like some of you were able to join quite earlier than before the meeting started, and you were at an interview with Queen and a client. Now, the thing is this, I was observing in the meeting, and the reason I just intentionally observed, but you know, the client and Queen, they both got excited and they just started, they were talking on anything, everything possible. I knew that all those things would not be in our scope. But what I did in the last 2-3 minutes was to bring it back to the scope and to the remit of the work, to know, sir, if you want this service, it's another service. So if you want this service, it's another service. So, but it seems like, and the client was able to pinpoint, you know, okay, for now, this is what I might be interested in. So I coming to agreement with your clients is very important. I feel like they said there's something is that is said is expectation is the mother of disappointment. Expectation is the mother of disappointment. And how do you counteract expectation is by having agreements in place. Thank you, sisters. Any other question from any other person?
Sorry.
Okay.
Just a little bit, just one last clarity, okay? Something I wanted to get, yeah? So now, are you saying when someone registers on freelancer, whether it's full-time or part-time depends on the agreement the person will have with the client, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so for instance, if at the end of the day, you decide, okay, you're going to be working on this on part-time basis, that means you should let your clients know which days or which times you'll be spending on their work. Is that right? Maybe you should communicate that at the beginning or at the start of the work.
Yeah.
So that maybe on 12 a.m., the client will not just email you, please, I need this in 1 hour. right? So this should form part of the communication that will go around that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's just the clarity I needed.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, yeah. Awesome. Any other question from anyone? Well, with regards to the message, it was perfect, but I think we will need to delve in more in the next episode. Any other question from anyone or thoughts, anything at all? Quinn?
And I think it could also be a contribution. You know, we are on ethics of remote work. So if you still feel that something needs to throw in, so of course.
Jane? All right, Quinn, I'm muted. You go, Quinn.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't have any question or contributions because I just only unmuted because you called me. But generally, I'll say that everything was actually touched. Every single thing was touched, and what you said was actually right. And the clients who were busy talking, and I think another thing that also makes some of these things happen is that you don't want to come up as too forward. I think it's a Nigerian thing. You don't want to come up as too forward. Like at a point, I actually wanted to say, oh, I could do the podcast, but that's a different gig on its own. But I didn't want to come up as too forward. But with everything that's been taught today, I know that next time I should be more precise and just precise in what I'm offering the clients. Like we already have gigs, and our gigs have what we offer. So when the client asks us what we are offering, it's just like going back to your gig and saying, okay, these are the list of things that I can do for you.
Yeah.
And take it.
I think it's a form of respect for your client, because I think you helping me get direct into the scope is a way of you respecting my time. You know, so I look at it as a form of respect. So you are doing the client good by helping guide the conversation around a particular scope. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other question or contribution? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. You made mention of building relationship, professional relationship, with your clients. In doing that, how do you ensure that your clients, how do you ensure that they don't take advantage of such? I will give an instance. Currently, who does not want to, let me say, probably because of the inflow of the job she's getting, she doesn't want to commit to a monthly plan, in which the monthly plan, she's going to have access to a lot of things, in terms of probably she wants to edit, a set of pictures. The pictures, maybe it may be limitless, so you won't say probably 700 pictures or 600 pictures. So the job is the job.
So,
but then she wants. Let me
just hold on one minute. So we're going to go offline now because we're delving into more practical things.
Yeah, exactly. I want to give a practical.
Of the meeting, I will basically say thank you for attending, and I'm going to go off record, and then we are going to continue the discussion. If you're a freelancer, opportunities are endless on freelancer. Listen to the things that we've taught you and implemented, you'll go far. Thank you.